Okay, so you wanted to really get into the nitty-gritty of Sevastopol Station. Well, strap in, because today we're doing a deep dive based on your request. We're talking Mission 17, Power Struggle, from Alien. Isolation.
Oh, good one. That's a real nail-biter.
Right. I mean, anyone who's played Isolation knows it's a tense game. But even for Isolation, this mission...
It throws you right in the deep end, doesn't it?
Totally. Our source picks up with Amanda already, in a bad spot, trying to reach that space-flight terminal. Her only hope of getting off Sevastopol.
Which, of course, the game makes as difficult as possible.
Because, of course.
Yeah.
Transit system's down, so it's not like she could just, hop on a train?
Not unless she wants to be riding solo with a xenomorph conductor. But that's Isolation for you. It's all about using your head as much as anything else.
Exactly. This isn't some action movie where you can just shoot your way out. You gotta improvise, scavenge for supplies. Speaking of, our source specifically mentioned the ion torch being surprisingly important in this mission.
Oh, for sure. It's not just about burning your way through those facehugger nests.
Right, they were saying it's actually used to open certain pathways, almost like it's a key as much as a weapon.
Clever, isn't it? Makes you really think about each item you find, how it could be useful in ways you wouldn't expect. Suddenly, that hunk of junk in your inventory feels like a lifeline, and it ramps up the tension, too.
Oh, absolutely. And speaking of tension, can we talk about the station itself for a sec? Our source made it sound like Sevastopol is practically designed to mess with your head.
It is. The blocked paths, the detours, you're constantly getting turned around. It's like the station itself is trying to kill you as much as that alien is. Brilliant environmental storytelling, I think.
You're not kidding. Every corner you turn, every vent you pass, you're just waiting for something to jump out.
You're never truly safe. That's what makes it so effective.
And that brings us to another vital tool our source called out, the motion tracker. But in this mission, it's more than just about keeping tabs on the alien, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's your lifeline in the maze. That is Sevastopol.
You literally wouldn't know which way to go half the time without it.
Exactly. But here's the thing. That reliance, that need to constantly check it, that's where the game gets you.
Because you're vulnerable while you're fiddling with it.
Yeah. Totally. You're standing still, listening, and hoping you don't hear that telltale blip, blip, blip. That means you're about to have a very bad day. Talk about a mini horror movie in itself every time you flip that thing open.
It's like, you know that feeling when you're home alone and you think you hear a noise, so you have to, check the locks and everything?
Yeah, but dial it up to 11.
Right. And that's with, regular threats.
Oh.
In Mission 17, our source was talking about Amanda having to do these tasks, finding key cards, restarting a generator. Normal stuff, but...
Normal stuff turned terrifying. Context is everything, right? Those everyday actions suddenly become life or death when a xenomorph could be around any corner.
And you're racing against time, because who knows when that thing's gonna, decide to go for a stroll in your ventilation shaft.
Speaking of which, vents, elevators. Our source called those out as being particularly important in this mission. What do you think, just for variety?
Well, they add to the whole creepy atmosphere, right? Like those vents. Yeah. Talk about a classic horror movie trope.
For sure. But I think it goes deeper than that. Thematically, vents and elevators play into that feeling of vulnerability, that alien.
Isolation is so good at creating. Vents represent the unknown. Anything could be hiding in there.
Yeah.
And elevators.
You're trapped. If that door opens and the alien is standing there, game over, man.
Exactly. You're at the mercy of the station systems, which, let's be honest, are about as reliable as a chocolate teapot at this point.
And then, just when Amanda reaches what seems like a turning point, the tow platform where the Torrens, her potential escape ship, is supposed to dock.
Our source cuts out. Talk about a cliffhanger. Right. It's like, wait, what happens next? I guess we'll have to wait for the next episode to find out how she actually makes it out of that mess.
Assuming she does.
Don't say that. I'm trying to be optimistic here. Makes you wonder, playing through that mission, how many times did you have those almost didn't make it moments?
I'm sure plenty. That's what this game does so well. It keeps you right on the edge of your seat.
For sure. Thinking back on Mission 17, were you the type who meticulously searched every single room?
Oh, had to, right? Couldn't risk missing a med kit or some ammo. Never know when you might need it.
Especially with those resources being so scarce.
Exactly. But then again, spending too long scavenging. Ooh.
That's how you become xenomorph dinner.
Precisely. So it's a constant balancing act. Risk versus reward. Do you take your chances in the shadows?
Or you become a speedrunner and just pray you don't trip an alarm.
Speaking of shadows, bet you found yourself holding your breath a lot, right?
Oh, all the time.
Okay.
Especially in those vents. Every little creak, every groan of the station,
Yeah.
you're just waiting for that telltale hiss.
The sound design in this game is phenomenal.
Absolutely. It really gets under your skin. So even though our source leaves us hanging, right there on the platform, not knowing if Amanda actually makes it onto the torrents.
It's the perfect cliffhanger. Leaves you wanting more, just like the game itself.
And I think that's what we really wanted to get across in this deep dive. Mission 17, it's more than just a mission, right? It's alien. Isolation distilled into its purest, most terrifying form.
Resourcefulness, stealth, and that constant gnawing tension.
You're never truly safe, and every choice you make could be your last. But hey, that's what makes it so compelling, right? So, we want to hear from you. What were your most intense Mission 17 moments? Those close calls, the times you barely escaped with your life? Share your stories in the comments, and let's keep this conversation going.